Okay, today we're going to talk about dilations, and this is going to move pretty quick because you can go back and forth and you can pause to catch up where you need to. So when we're looking at dilations, a dilation is a transformation that results from the enlargement or reduction of an image. So the image is either going to get bigger or smaller. An enlargement is a dilation with a scale factor greater than 1, which means it is not going to include 1. It's going to be greater than 1. It can be 1.25, it can be 6, it can be 100, anything greater than 1. A reduction is a dilation with a scale factor between 0 and 1. So it can't be 0 and it can't be 1. So the only things we know that can be are decimals or fractions. Okay? A scale factor is the ratio of the lengths of two corresponding sides of two similar polygons. So the sides have to be corresponding, which means I have to use the same side on both figures. The prime, see this little tick mark here? That's what it shows when it is the prime. And the prime is the ordered pair of the new figure. Okay, we're going to call it new. It can be called several different things. We're going to call it new. It would look something like this. Those would be primes. And a ratio compares two values. Okay? Remember that if this is a dilation, it does not preserve congruence. In order to be congruent, a shape has to be the same size and the same shape. Dilations do not stay the same size. Okay? So we are going to look at the inside here. And the first thing we're going to look at is this art supply store. And they are selling different sizes of triangles. All of the triangles are dilations of a single basic triangle. The basic triangle and its dilations are showed on the grid. It wants us to find the scale factor. Here's what I want you to remember about scale factor. Your scale factor is always your new over your old. Okay, and a few minutes ago we talked about the new and how to find that, and that was with these little tick marks. Since that has the tick marks, this is our new and this is our old. Now, in order to find the scale factor, we're going to use this information over here. The first thing it wants us to do is look at triangle ABC, which is actually our old triangle. And it wants us to find the side of AC. So I'm going to look here, AC, and I'm going to count 1, 2. It goes down 2. So AC is 2. Now we're going to look at CB, and we're going to count 1, 2, 3. CB is 3. We have done this before when we were finding distance of a point, so it should be kind of familiar. Now we're going to look at the prime triangle, and we're going to look at A prime, C prime, and we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to look at C prime, B prime, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that makes 6. And they have kind of set it up for us down here. They want us to look at AC prime, and that we did. It's here. It's 4. Remember I said new over old, and how did they set it up? New over old. 4 over AC, which is 2. 4 over 2 reduces to 2. Here we're looking at CB prime because that's the new, over CB, which is the old, and 6 over 3 reduces to 2. So my scale factor here is 2. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write this over here so that when I'm looking at my notes, I can see where I found that scale factor. We can tell from the scale factor that this is an enlargement. And the way we know that is because the scale factor is greater than 1. Okay? Let's look at this next one real quick. It's going to be hard to see this one because we've got it in 2 different spots, but we're going to kind of play around with it here. This says an office supply store sells index cards in 2 different sizes. The large size is a dilation of the small size. Both sizes are shown. Find the scale factor. Okay, we can look at these, and we know by the tick marks that this is the new, and this is the old. We are actually going to find Q prime to R prime. So Q prime, R prime, over QR, because we have to stay with the same side. So if we're doing that, we're staying same side. Let's measure this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so Q prime, R prime is 9 over Q to R is 1, 2, 3. Over 3, which equals 3, actually. Now, we don't have to have all 4 sides because this side is the same as this side, and this side is the same as this one. So I'm going to look at R prime to S prime. We're just going to go R prime to S prime over RS and see what those equal. Let's go over here and look. We're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So R prime S prime is 6 over RS, which is 1, 2. So 6 over 2. And 6 over 2 reduces to 3. So this has a scale factor of 3, which tells us that it is in enlargement. We could have seen that just by looking at the tick marks, but we're going to write it anyway. Okay, what happens when they don't give us a side? Let's talk about that. Okay, if they don't give us a side, then I have got to look at my points. And we're still going to say prime over new. So I'm going to write my points down here. And I'm going to say R prime over R. And then I'm just going to write my ordered pair. If I'm looking at R prime, that R prime is sitting at 3, 3. It's 3 on the X and 3 on the Y. Remember, X's always go first. Over, my R is sitting at 4, 4. Okay? So we found that one. Now let's look at T prime over T. Okay, T prime is sitting in a kind of strange place. It's sitting at -3 here, but here, it's -3 here, but when you go up on the Y, it's sitting at 1.5. So we have a -3, comma, 1.5, all over, if you look at this T, it is sitting at -4, 2. Okay, and now we're going to look at the S's. S prime over S equals, S prime is sitting at, again, in that strange spot, 1.5 for my X, because it's right here, comma, and then we're going to look at it here, going down, and that's sitting at -3. And then over my S, which is sitting at 2 and -4. Okay, now I'm just going to play with it a little bit. I'm not going to use that anymore. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to take my X's of each pair, and I'm going to see if all my X's match. Okay, and I'm going to say R prime over R, and I'm going to say here R prime is 3 and R is 4, because I'm just using my X's. Then I'm going to say T prime over T, which is -3 over -4. And everyone knows that 2 negatives make a positive. So we are still good because it's 3/4. And then I'm going to say S prime over S equals 1.5 over 2. Now here's my problem. 1.5 over 2 is not 3/4. But if I put that into my calculator and get a fraction, it's 0.75. 3/4 is also 0.75. So if you notice, this is just a reduction of 3/4. So this has a scale factor. Go back up here and write the scale factor of 0.75. Or you could also write it as 3/4. Okay? If you have any questions, please come see me during tutoring.